social media.
Anybody surprised here by a few things? Things that kind of make you rethink? It's kind of scary. And that's alone. So, as an observer, me, being the observer, and thinking through what I've seen in, gosh, 30-some plus years of youth ministry, I think what we've done is our culture really is contributing to anxiety, to depression, to some of the mental health issues. A lot of writing out is suggesting that as well. We have disconnected with the emerging generations, and we need to come back. We need to slow down, turn off some things, and connect, and do things with them. So here's a quote by Chapman book. Adolescents have lost safe relationships in intimate settings that serve as a primary nurturing community for those traveling the path from child to adult. I agree. That's what I'm saying too. This is another, we saw this one earlier, but I wanted to bring it back because it fits here again. We have evolved to the point where we believe driving is support, getting them through activities, being active is love, where we're there for you, we watched your game, providing any and every opportunity, you know, dance, youth group, a tablet, a cell phone, camp for hockey, whatever it might be, that's selfless in nature. Look how much we love you. And what they're crying out for is just mom and dad to hang out with them. Or somebody. Now, not all of them have a mom and dad. That's where we come in. How do we create family? So, gosh, I can't see the fifth one, guys. I don't remember it very well. Moralistic therapeutic deism. Have you heard of that? It's kind of the new American religion that's kind of informed by these cultural changes. Here they are. God exists who created and orders the world and watches over human life. This is not too bad yet. God wants people to be good, nice, and fair to each other, as taught in the Bible and most world religions. The central goal of life is to be happy and to feel good about ourselves. 4, God does not need to be particularly involved in one's life except when needed. And the fifth one, I don't remember what it is, guys. There's a lot of stuff up here. So I think it was he's available when you need him, and along that same lines again, if I recall. So those are kind of scary. And that's what religion is these days. It's convenience, not a commitment. So what can we do? Well, responsibilities are coming. There's no way. You can't, I mean, you can stay forever in your parents' basement, I suppose they can, but it's going to probably change. At least mom and dad will be angry. When mom and dad die and their house is their own, they'll have to pay the bills, I guess. So here's the thing. I like to think like a missionary. In some sense, in one of the textbooks we've used in school, we talked about youth ministry is about being a missionary to the youth culture. How do you go to them? We're talking about go and make disciples. Jared talked about that this morning. Really cool. Now, how can we go to them? Well, some ways to do that is go to school events, go to sporting events, go to the coffee shop, hang out, go to the skateboard park, go to their community events, go to where they work, go through their aisle at Walmart or Kmart or the coffee shop. Be where they are. That's what we do in missions. Learn their culture. I like this verse. This is a great verse for youth group. 1 Thessalonians 2, just as a nursing mother cares for her children, so we cared for you. Because we love you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well. That's where we begin to get involved. Tiger and I were talking earlier today, and in one of his counseling sessions, he says this. He says, when you're trying to counsel a young person, get them to name what's going on. And then we want them to name it, and we want to be curious about it. And in the curiosity, we develop a relationship, we help them through it. That alone can relieve so much because they're not hiding anything anymore. In addictions counseling, we say this: secrets keep us sick. When we're hiding the issue, hiding the depression, hiding the anxiety, hiding the hurts, hiding the wounds, we're sick. This is really trying to work with you. So if we can get them to name it, then the cat's out of the bag, and they can begin to process. The next generation needs adults who care. No surprise. We all do. We as older adults need adults older than us who care too. Some other things here from the Evergreen Conference a few years back from a gal named Judith Todd. She says this: in developing young people, there's a whole program out there that comes to Boys and Girls Club, Evergreen Community Centers, drop-in centers, shelters. That's called youth development. Here are some practical things we can do in our life, in our culture as well. Get them to participate in society in any way. Fishing, building something together, get them a Habitat for Humanity together, whatever. Get them to do something besides playing video games and staying at home. get experience in decision making. There's some little tools you can use to help with decision making. Get them to see if you choose this, what will happen, is that what you want? That's one way of getting to think through every decision they have to make. If you go to this college, will you get the degree you want, is that what you want to do? Talk through that and look for all the options. Also, get them to interact with peers more, have a sense of belonging. If you take, I'm reading a book by a guy from California who was a movie producer. He did a Gridiron, what is the movie about the prison football team? He did that movie, and one of the things he wanted to do was take young men from a juvenile prison on a sailing boat for a week. Because if you're out in the middle of the water, and you've got to sail, and you've got to communicate, either you're all going to die, or you're going to get yourselves home together. Which means you've got to find a way to work together and belong. Also, reflection on self in relation to others. How do I fit? How I compare? Now, comparison can be good and bad. We're trying to figure out our identity. We're trying to figure out what skills we have to contribute to this world. And comparison can be good if we're trying to see how we can improve it and that we're working and making it. Or it can be bad if we always think we're inferior. Years ago, Dr. Dobson said that comparison is the beginning of inferiority. Interesting. Okay? Discuss conflicting values peacefully. Anybody ever watch any political shows on TV? Do they do this? You can't even hear anybody talking because they're both talking over each other. How do you discuss differences of opinion peacefully? We don't do that anymore. We're polarized. We need to think. At Oak Hills, one of our slogans is we want to teach people how to think, not what to think. So how do we work through that? And experimentation with identity. Try some things. If they don't work, that doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you're not. I mean, if you're 5'3" and you want to play in the NBA, it's probably not going to work. But you can play basketball probably through at least your freshman, sophomore year of high school, maybe a little longer, but you're probably not going to make it to the college levels or NBA because those boys have another foot or two on you. But that's okay. You still have skills. You have some fun. This is a book called Sticky Faith out of Fuller Theological Seminary, written by Kara Powell. What she says is this: every young person needs at least 5 adults in their life to care about. Where are they? Find them. In her life, she has done this herself in her with her teens. But if your single parents are in your youth group, how can you help this single parent find 5 adults who help care for her child? One's going to be long, so you got a good start. The other is you as a youth pastor. That's great. You got 2, 3 more. Where are they? How can you find them? How can you get them to go fishing, to go camping, to go have coffee, to help with homework, whatever it might be? A teacher might be the other one. Okay. Also, she says this: find people in the church they admire. This is a way to start it. Find people in your church that young people admire, your own children, and get them to hang out together. At Oak Hills this year, we started a shooting club. That's fun. So that could be something to do. What if you got people who hunt? If your child likes to hunt and you don't hunt, connect them. The other one here is this: we typically end youth group their senior year. We shouldn't end it there. How do we carry on for at least the first year of college with the students that graduate from our programs? The 4+1. One of the things we used to do was bring in, what time are we going to start? I could go a long time. This is a full 4 years of my thinking, reading for a course.
11:55.
55 would be good then. What if you brought in different ministries from a college to your youth group in May and met with just the seniors to hear about things like InterVarsity, crew, those kind of things that exist on the campuses they're thinking they might go to? That'd be pretty cool. My dream job was to get a camper at Winnebago and travel to all the colleges where my students were and hang out for the day barbecue. But I couldn't get it funded. But that would definitely be the 4+1. So some action steps are not going to show up because something happened here. But one of them, to be honest, I can fix that. Well, let's just go on. I'll come back to YouTube. A couple verses. They're also messed up on our PowerPoint slide. This verse we're familiar with: whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. Think about these things. Those can be ways to kind of help them train to think about the right things versus all the comparison cultural things. In Addictions Council, we talk about if you want to get healthy, go to your group meetings, do the steps, find a sponsor. It's kind of similar. If you want to be a healthy mentally, and you want to be a disciple of Christ, go to church, go to youth group, hang out with people who do, and work the discipleship program by reading your Bible. It's very simple. The other one here, I like, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God and call every thought captive. That's a big one for us to think through. I like this. There is no word in a teenager's vocabulary more enjoyed than the sound of his or her name. Know the names of the people who come to your church youth group or who are in your church. I used to think about the community of youth in this area as a group I tried to get to our church. Then once I got into church, I wanted to know who they all were. Then I would try to get them to come to my youth group. When I got into youth group, I would try to get them into leadership. We kind of keep shrinking the circle to get them to be more committed, more participatory in their faith. More's caught than taught. Mentoring, good saying. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. All these are relationships. That, I think, is a starting point for this whole thing about how to help young people through the issues of being a young person. This is from Shap as well. Just a consistent relationships through early, middle, and late adolescence help them emerge into adulthood with less anxiety and less depression. I like this too. Again, when we're connected to the source of hope, fear is reduced. So these are kind of the resources that we have. I have a lot of books on here. You have to go back there to properly see them. But I guess what I want, if I were to summarize this, I hope you see that there's a lot of things impacting teens, a lot of issues out there. They're not going away, they're getting worse. So we need to be involved in their lives, get them to kind of talk about what's bothering them. It's in a safe place without judging, and then try to hear their story, love on them, and try to help them work it through. There's a book by Dunn from Trinity Theological Seminary called Shaping the Spiritual Lives of Teens. There, you're reading through that book with me now. We just finished it. Basically, it says this: love the kids, listen to the stories, and when they're ready to kind of hear you out, earn the right to speak into their lives, lead them deeper into their faith. I think those are good words to live with and maybe to end by. So, you got a lot of stuff. I went fast, but I wanted to get it all out there because this represents a lot of years of thinking, a lot of years of experience. And I just wanted to kind of show you where I've come from and what I've learned, so maybe something can be useful. So, there you go. We've got time for questions. I'll hang out if you need to, or if you want me to, and we'll chat. And if you're coming to the fourth quarter with Tyler, he can kind of take us a little bit further into this, but sign up at the table so we know who's coming. Thanks, guys.